What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about why I am getting Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is a video I've been waiting to make on this game specifically for an incredibly long time because I think this game has Game of the Year potential all over it. We'll talk about it as this video goes, but this is a video series I do where I talk about an upcoming game, talk about whether I'm getting it, not getting it, or I'm somewhere in between. And like I just said, ever since we saw this game, rewind all the way to the June event last year for Xbox. I mean, this game stands out. Immediately, I think that's the number one thing you could say about this game is there's just something to it. I think several somethings that we'll talk about that really stand out and say, okay, they're doing something a little bit familiar, right? Like nothing is ever truly original, but they're doing it in kind of a fresh way that I think is really going to get people. And I feel the anticipation. I feel the excitement. I feel the fan, enthusiasm of this game going higher and higher and higher, whether it's a character diary or whether, whatever it might be, seeing the cast, seeing how legendary so much of the cast is. The story is freaking awesome, sounding at least, right? Obviously, you have to execute it, but the story sounds awesome. The visuals, it looks fantastic. The scope of the game, not being a 100-hour thing, not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but this game knows what it's trying to do. This is the first game from the studio, right? Kind of built from the ground up. A lot of these veterans of other teams come together and they say, hey, we can't make a 100-hour game on the first go. We're going to make it like a 30, 40-hour game. Perfect. Stop right there, right? You already got me. So that's a great length. It's a great cast. It's a great thing to just look at, visually, the music, and then let's talk about the inspiration. Okay. I think that is something that it's actually two parts. You can see the inspiration, and then you can also hear the inspiration and say, okay, it's one thing to hear about it, but then to kind of see it in action and be able to place it, I feel like is rather important, right? So when you see the Persona turn-based, and Persona is not the only turn-based, but when you see turn-based, and then you see kind of the interactive style, when the game gives off these Persona, Final Fantasy type vibes, you just say you're freaking in, right? And then when you see how this turn-based thing goes of that interaction. Now, turn-based is not like my number one most played genre, right? So I think of like Sea of Stars recently, okay, as a recent, indie trying to go back old school, but also to keep you engaged at all parts, right, of the game. Phenomenal game, by the way. I think a lot of people have played Sea of Stars, but, that game just kind of, brought back that feeling of, okay, get ready to time a button press, right? And you'll be able to outright block an attack or parry an attack or jump over, for a situation like Expedition 33, these are the things you can do, right? Jumping over an attack, dodging attack, parrying it in general, being able to do extra damage on top of it. Just so many engaging things, right? That's just going to keep you, part of the game as it goes. So, from the gameplay department, it's got me. Turn-based is always kind of a simple but complex hook, right? No matter what game it's in, it always follows certain guidelines. It can always be more complex. Sometimes it's required to be more complex, but it's also, simplicity to it. It's not the hardest thing to understand, of all time. They've talked about the whole no mini-map thing, right, to kind of make you feel more engaged in the world and more like engrossed in what's going on. I get lost very easily. I need my handheld in a lot of games, so that one might backfire, specifically on me, only on me maybe, but no, this game's just got so much freaking going for it. I glossed over the story, but like this idea of like your age, right, and going after people of that age group and kind of time ticking down. I feel like this game is going to have a lot of heavy emotional beats. Again, I think it's got the voice cast to carry it along with hopefully a really good story. Again, it's got the background with these people that are very highly acclaimed, right, in what they've done in the past. I'm just so freaking ready to get going. Truly, I think you can look at it and just, if you're a fan, I guess, if you're not a fan of the genre, if this is just not your thing, I can understand that. I can respect that. But, if you are, I feel like you can just smell, Game of the Year. Really, like one of the more impactful games of 2025. And so I'm really hoping, I hope I'm not setting myself up. Hey, I could be, to be honest with you. It could happen, but I really feel like this game is going to be such a good game. I want it to be such a good game. And, think about April, and April is not very loaded, okay? April is probably the first month, maybe March, where there's just not as many games that are out. You have South of Midnight in the beginning. Ironically enough, both of these games, and don't forget, Expedition 33 is a Game Pass game. It's coming out across all the systems. You can get it physically, all that jazz. That's great. I like all of that. You can also just get it on Game Pass. So you don't have to buy it if you're looking for almost like a trial run, like it's gonna technically, or in that way, I guess, through Game Pass, it'll have that option. So I just feel like this game has a lot going for it, and honestly, not a very crowded, time period. There's really not a lot happening. May it starts to pick up a little bit more, and then I'm sure, June will kind of fill itself in with the Nintendo Switches of the world and all that other jazz. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.